Alright, Kimraha Huladunia, Feuchamaich Olde Scot the Celtic podcast. On today's show in Feuchamaich Beagan Gaidhlig, we will continue a 25-week beginner's course with Lesson 3. We'll talk about the Easter Rebellion and its aftermath in our Celtic history segment, and you will hear a Welsh story about the Devil's Bridge in everyday Celtic ways. Now, throughout the program, we will hear music from the Rankin family, Mary Plowboys, Rachel Sermani, and Danny Carnahan and Robin Petrie. And as always, a wee bit of Irish trivia to test your knowledge to start us off. Which famous Irishman wrote The Importance of Being Earnest? Now, I also want to let you know about the Olde Scot, the Facebook group. There you're going to be able to make suggestions, get feedback, post your own memes and information, and be a part of Celtic culture. So check us out on Facebook. Feuchamaich, let's kick this thing off.
You've read in history's pages the heroes of great fame, the deeds they've done and the battles won and how they made their name. But the boys who made the history for the orange, white and green were the boys who died in Dublin town in 1916. So meet the boys from Kerry, take the boys from Clare, from Dublin, Wicklow, Donegal, and the boys from Old Kildare. Some came from a land across the sea, from Boston and New York, but the boys who beat the black and tans were the boys from the County Cork. In Ireland's rebel county, our heroes fought and died. Tom Barry and his gallant lads filled Irish hearts with pride. From Skibbereen to Bandon and Bantry by the sea, our brave young Michael Collins fought for Ireland's liberty. Meet the boys from Kerry, take the boys from Clare, from Dublin, Wicklow, Donegal, and the boys from Old Kildare. Some came from a land across the sea, from Boston and New York, but the boys who beat the black and tans were the boys from the County Cork. Well, Cork gave us McSweeney, a martyr for to die, and Wicklow gave us Squire in the days now long gone by, and Dublin gave us Porrick, Pierce, McBride and Cahalbrew, and America gave us Devil Air to lead old Ireland through. So meet the boys from Kerry, take the boys from Clare, from Dublin, Wicklow, Donegal, and the boys from Old Kildare. Some came from a land across the sea, from Boston and New York, but the boys who beat the black and tans were the boys from the County Cork. So meet the boys from Kerry, take the boys from Clare, from Dublin, Wicklow, Donegal, and the boys from Old Kildare. Some came from a land across the sea, from Boston and New York, but the boys who beat the black and tans were the boys from the County Cork. Yes, the boys who beat the black and tans were the boys from the County Cork.
Alright, that was Boys of County Cork by the Mary Plowboys. And now, Han Tom and Feuchamaich Beagan Gaidhlig, it's time for Let's Try a Little Gaelic. Now, I do not represent myself as an authority on the Gaelic language, only someone who loves learning it and wants to help others. What I teach comes right from the textbooks of well-respected Gaelic teachers, and I hope you will find it interesting, informative, and fun. Today, we're still in that 25-part Gaelic lesson. Today is Lesson 3, which is the 4 forms that verbs use to form a sentence. And since that's pretty quick and easy, we're going to do a little bit on lenition as well. So, the 4 forms. You've got the independent, or what's called the positive statement, the dependent, or the negative statement, the interrogative, or the positive question, and the negative interrogative, or the negative question. Now, for all the verbs, that's how it goes. You've already seen ha in some of the earlier lessons as the positive statement. Learning the others will only open up your abilities to form sentences and begin communicating in Gaelic. So ha is the positive statement, like I mentioned. Ha I fuair, it is cold. And then of course you have Cheniel, which is the negative statement. Cheniel I fuair, it is not cold. Then you got the positive question, avail. Sometimes you'll see this as amvail in older versions. See, avail I fuair, is it cold? And then of course you got the negative question, which is nachel. Nakeeli fur. Is it not cold? Alright. And that's pretty simple. That's you throw that either one of these with some vocabulary, and you're making sentences. All right. So if you want to play around with that, that would be awesome. Now we're going to work on a little bit on lenition, and you'll see this as you go through, as you're looking at Gaelic words and sentences, and sometimes it doesn't make sense because you see these extra H's thrown in there, and I'm here to just kind of explain this a little bit to you, why that is. Now, lenition, it does take some getting used to, and you'll start seeing a lot of it. It may be a bit confusing, so to help, here are a few particular things to keep in mind. The consonants, which always lenite, are B, C, F, G, M, and P. However, consonants D, T, and S don't usually lenite if the word before them ends in an N, and words beginning with SG, SM, SP, and ST never lenite. We're going to get a little bit more specific, though. Lenition for possession. Now, when talking about possession, you need to lenite after using mo, which is my, and do, which is your, and a his or her, as in ha mo hai fask an rat, higishak. My house is near the road. Come in. Right? See, the word tie was lenited there. Right after mo, which is my. Or kachavel dohai. Where is your house? Okay? Haniel dono afurlak ansa vala sho itcher. Ha ahai ansa achvala. Now we got a few of them, and now this one. Donald does not live in this town at all. His house is in the next town. You've got the lenition of vala twice in the sentence, and tie. Okay? Now, lenition from prepositions. Words following prepositions, out of, vo, from, j, of, do, for, fo, under, gun, without, and mar, like, are also lenited. Hashen galat, hashen harach, gun volak, rituv, and tai. There's an old garage without a roof beside the house. How the word for garage here, garage, is lenited. Then you have volak after gun, which is lenited. Alright, we're going to move on. Lenition from adjectives. Now, when describing an object or a person using adjectives such as kora, which is odd, j, which is good, drok, which is bad, priov, which is primary, or shun, which is old, the subject is lenited. Ha-kora vodak, akoshek shak ahulala. The occasional old man walks past every day. Alright, you see vodak is lenited. Haje shalak an kiu an chilin skianak. There's a good view. You can see the Isle of Skye. Alright. And of course, shalak is lenited. Lenition from modifiers. You also lenite most words following common modifiers like fjord, true, glay, very, or ro, too. Oh, and of course, sar, which means great. Ha'i glay shavak ansavala sho. It is very quiet in this town. You lenited savak and vala. Chaniel irofada, Chaniel irohada von fala vor. They got a lot of lenition in that one. It's not too far from the city. Alright, lenition from numerals. Alright, finally, you lenite words following the numerals 1, which is un, or da, which is 2, and of course achiat which is the first. It's an ordinal number. The Unvoord Ansahitchen. There is one table in the kitchen. And Ha Dag Hu Von Voord. There are two dogs under the table. Alright. And that's it for Lenition for right now. We're going to move on to a little vocabulary. And, of course, you've got Thai, which is house, Fask, near, Rat, road, Forlik, living or staying, Bala, which is town, Shan, which is old, Og, which is young, Garage, which is garage, Board, which is table, Kitchen, which is kitchen, and Hu, which is dog, or Ku. Note, I am not going to give you the translation for every Gaelic word as we go along. I want you to have to search for the answer. You have the internet and online dictionaries available at your fingertips. And of course, this will help you retain the information and help you in your Gaelic learning. I always find it's best to have an actual physical Gaelic dictionary on hand, and I'll put a picture of the one I have up. So sometimes internet's down and you still want to learn a little Gaelic. It's always best to have that dictionary handy. All right, I'm going to translate a few words into English for practice before we get going. 1. Veluski. 2. Nakel I Fluk. 3. Haniel Iet Tolice. 4. Haniel Shenfur. 5. Nakel Iet Mor. And 6. Avel Shiv Che. Alright, that's it for Feuchamaich Beagan Gaidhlig. Thank you.
High on the gallows trees, one the noble hearted three, by the vengeful tyrant stricken in their bloom. But they met him face to face with the courage of their race, and they went with souls undaunted to their doom. God save Ireland, said the heroes. God save Ireland, said they all. Whether on the scaffold high or the battlefield we die, oh, what matter if for Ireland do we fall? Girt around with cruel foes, and their courage proudly rose, for they thought of friends who loved them far and near. Of the millions true and brave, o'er the ocean's swelling wave, and the friends of dear old Ireland ever true. God save Ireland, said the heroes. God save Ireland, said they all. Whether on the scaffold high or the battlefield we die, oh, what matter if for Ireland do we fall? Climbed they up the rugged stair, rang their voices out in prayer, then with England's fatal cord around them cast. Close beside the gallows tree, kissed like brothers lovingly, true to home and faith and freedom to the last. God save Ireland, said the heroes. God save Ireland, said they all. Whether on the scaffold high or the battlefield we die, oh, what matter if for Ireland do we fall? Never till the latest day shall the memory pass away of their gallant lives thus given for our land. But on the cause we'll go, it's the joy, the weal and woe, till we make our island nation free and grand. God save Ireland, said the heroes. God save Ireland, said they all. Whether on the scaffold high or the battlefield we die, oh, what matter if for Ireland do we fall? God save Ireland, said the heroes. God save Ireland, said they all. Whether on the scaffold high or the battlefield we die, oh, what matter if for Ireland do we fall?
That was God Save Ireland also by the Merry Plowboys. Today on the Celtic History Break, we're going to talk about the 1916 Easter Rising and its aftermath. On Easter Monday, April 24th, 1916, a group of Irish nationalists proclaimed the establishment of the Irish Republic and, along with some 1,600 followers, staged a rebellion against the British government in Ireland. Now, the rebels seized prominent buildings in Dublin and clashed with British troops, and within a week, the insurrection had been suppressed and more than 2,000 people were dead or injured. The leaders of the rebellion soon were executed. Initially, there was little support from the Irish people for the Easter Rising. However, public opinion later shifted, and the executed leaders were hailed as martyrs. In a few years, in 1921, a treaty was signed, and that in 1922 established the Irish Free State, which of course would eventually become the modern-day Republic of Ireland. Now, a little background is needed to understand the Easter Rising in Dublin, Ireland in 1916. With the Acts of Union of 1800, Ireland, which had been under some form of English control since the 12th century, merged with Great Britain to form the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, to the dismay of many of staunch Irish nationalists as a result. Ireland lost its parliament in Dublin and was governed by a united parliament from Westminster in London. Now, during the 19th century, groups of Irish nationalists opposed this arrangement in varying degrees. Now, did you know, after the Easter Rising, a leader of the rebels, the American-born Eamon de Valera, was sentenced to death. However, he ended up serving only a brief prison term and went on to become one of Ireland's leading political figures with a career spanning half of a century. Mostly due to the fact that he was American. They didn't want to bring down the ire of the United States by killing one of its own. Now, some moderate nationalists advocated for home rule, under which Ireland would remain part of the United Kingdom, but also have some form of self-government. Several home rule bills were defeated in Parliament in the late 1800s before one finally passed in 1914. However, implementation of home rule was suspended due to the outbreak of World War I. Now, most people saw this move as just an excuse to delay the inevitable. To make matters worse, the majority of Irishmen opposed joining the war in Europe. Now, Britain had long conscripted fighting men from Ireland for hundreds of years, and many had grew tired of fighting Britain's wars for them. Now, meanwhile, members of a secret revolutionary organization called the Irish Republican Brotherhood, the predecessor to the IRA, believed home rule wouldn't go far enough and instead sought complete independence for Ireland. They began planning what would become the Easter Rising. They hoped their rebellion would have a better chance at success with the British busy at war in Europe. They also hoped to be aided by military support from Germany, which was fighting the British in World War I and who might be eager to engage the British on two fronts. An Irish nationalist named Roger Casement arranged for a shipment of German arms and ammunition for the rebels. However, shortly before the insurrection began, the British detected the ship and it was scuttled by its captain. Casement was charged with treason and executed in August of 1916. Now, the Easter Rising was intended to take place across the entire of Ireland. However, various circumstances resulted in it being carried out primarily in Dublin. On April 24, 1916, the rebel leaders and their followers, whose numbers reached some 1,600 people over the course of the insurrection, and many of whom were members of a nationalist organization called the Irish Volunteers, a small radical militia group, the Irish Citizen Army, seized the city's general post office and other strategic locations. Early that afternoon, from the steps of the post office, Patrick Pearse, one of the uprising's leaders, read a proclamation declaring Ireland an independent republic and stating that a provisional government comprised of IRB members had been appointed. Now, despite the rebels' hopes, the public did not rise to support them. The British government soon declared martial law in Ireland, and in less than a week the rebels were crushed by the government forces sent against them. Some 450 people were killed, and more than 2,000 others, many of them civilians, were wounded in the violence, which also destroyed much of the Dublin city centre. Initially, in the aftermath, many Irish people resented the rebels for the destruction and death caused by the uprising. However, in May, 15 leaders of the uprising were publicly executed by firing squad, and more than 3,000 people suspected of supporting the uprising, directly or indirectly, were arrested, and some 1,800 more were sent to England and imprisoned there without even having a trial. The rushed executions, mass arrests, and martial law, which remained in effect through the fall of 1916, fueled by public resentment toward the British, were among the factors that built support for the rebels and the movement for Irish independence. Now, in the 1918 general election to the Parliament of the United Kingdom, Sinn Féin, which means we ourselves, a political party, whose goal it is to establish a republic, won a majority of the Irish seats. Sinn Féin members then refused to sit in the UK Parliament, and in January 1919 met in Dublin to convene a single-chamber parliament and declare Ireland's independence. The Irish Republican Army then launched a successful guerrilla war against the British government and its forces in Ireland, led by a minor player in the Easter Rising named Michael Collins. Following a July 1921 ceasefire, the two sides signed a treaty in December that called for the establishment of the Irish Free State, making Collins the Free State's new leader. A self-governing nation of the British Commonwealth, the following year, Ireland's 6 northern counties opted out of the Free State and remained with the United Kingdom. The fully independent Republic of Ireland, consisting of the 26 counties in the southern and western part of the island, was formally proclaimed on Easter Monday, April 18, 1949. Now, since Eamon de Valera had introduced his constitution, now I'm probably going to butcher this, but it's Bunreacht na Éireann. In 1937, the Irish Free State, or Erie, as it was renamed, was virtually an independent republic. However, de Valera procrastinated on proclaiming the 26 counties the republic. His hesitation was abhorrent to those who recognized the republic as all 32 counties. He also did not want to be the one whom history would indicate as having accepted a partition of Ireland as permanent. The partition was a point of contention between de Valera and Michael Collins from the beginning, and it is believed de Valera was behind Collins' assassination. Now, Erie, which is Ireland, claimed that national territory covered the whole of Ireland, but recognized the de facto state of Northern Ireland created under the partition of Ireland. It was de Valera's ardent desire that reunification could be achieved peacefully. This made him a very unpopular man, and in the 1948 general election, the largest political party, Fianna Fáil, lost power to a coalition of parties and independents who were all in agreement that Fianna Fáil and de Valera should be put out of government permanently. John A. Costello, a Fine Gael candidate, was appointed Taoiseach, which is Prime Minister, and it was Costello that same year that introduced to the Oireachtas, which is the legislature branch of government, the Republic of Ireland bill. Now, the bill, which passed by both the Oireachtas House and the Senate, which is the Senate, put an end to the External Relations Act that was enacted in 1936. which recognized the British monarch to be King of Ireland. Now, whilst the Taoiseach and the President of Ireland were merely local notables. Now, the Republic of Ireland Act became law on the 21st of December 1948 and came into force on 18th of April 1949. Did not change the name of the state of Erie. However, it did change the description of the state, and it invested the President of Ireland with executive power for any executive function of the state or in connection with its external relations. In effect, Ireland was a free and independent nation. Now, the British reacted to the act by introducing the Ireland Act of 1949, recognizing the Irish state leaving the Commonwealth, and its Irish citizens were given similar status as those of Commonwealth countries as part of under British nationality law. The Act also emphasized that Northern Ireland would never leave the United Kingdom except by consent. This arrangement was a fragile one, and by the 1960s, an era known as the Troubles had begun. But that is another story. All right. I hope you enjoyed this about the Easter Rising, and enjoy.
You're a lost soul, I know you're kind, for I have followed them, but never quite found myself where you all go to lose yourselves. Close my mouth not to ask for help, and my mother knows my eyes too well. You're a truth speaker with a heart of gold. Please keep me close, for I'd like to learn some. With fool's gold I try to hide my tongue, but from you speaks the very sun, and I pray that you will always hold on.
Alright, that was Little Prayer by Rachel Sermani. Now it's time for Everyday Celtic Ways. Today we're going to talk about the Devil's Bridge. The Welsh landscape is so beautiful that it attracts gawking visitors from all corners of the globe, including, apparently, the underworld. Legend has it that, in the 11th century, Satan himself visited Cregagian. Now, I'm sorry if I butcher some of these pronunciations, but I'm telling you right now, some of these Welsh words are kind of hard to pronounce. After hearing from so many returning demons that Wales is so beautiful, Satan figured I guess he had to go see. So he came to see what all the fuss was about. Now, while he was there, he met a woman whose cow had become stranded across the river. He offered to build her a bridge in exchange for the soul of the first living thing that crossed it, assuming it would be her. Now, after mulling it over, she agreed. Suddenly, the waters parted, and the stones bubbled up from the muck of the exposed river bottom. The stones grew and grew, toppling over each other, building themselves up from the muck. The stones grew to the point where they reached the level of each bank of the river. Finally, the devil let fire fly from his fingertips, and he smoothed the surface of the bridge from one side to the other. Then he let loose the waters, and they pushed through the bridge, carving a perfect arch in the stone, and allowing the river to flow once again. Now he turned to her and bowed, and gestured for her to try out his new creation. Once she saw the bridge was built, she knew she had to act quickly. So she reached into her bag and pulled out a loaf of bread. She lobbed the bread across the bridge, and it came to stop just on the other side, at the foot of her cow. The devil looked at her, and with a smirk on his face, he told her that bread is far from a living thing and would not count. Just then a beast burst forth from the trees behind her. Her dog, her dutiful dog, yet hungry dog, of course, and he ran across the bridge after the easy meal. She proceeded to cross the bridge, and the devil bowed to her cleverness, because it is rare that he is ever fooled. All right, that's it for Everyday Celtic Ways. Just a quick little story there for you. Hope you enjoyed it.
I took a trip up Gillis Mountain on a sunny summer day. There were ruts in the road and the four-wheel drive spun its wheels in the rocks and the clay. Yes, it spun its wheels in the rocks and the clay. On our way up Gillis Mountain on that sunny summer day, there were spruce trees growing on the fields where forefathers once made hay, where our forefathers once made hay. And oh, Gillis Mountain, oh, where forefathers once made hay. The Gillises lived on the mountain for about 100 years, where we picked berries, they cleared land, spent their blood and sweat and tears. They spent their blood and sweat and tears. And oh, Gillis Mountain, oh, spent their blood and sweat and tears. When we arrived on Gillis Mountain, you could see for miles in the light the white caps on the sea of blue, sparkled like diamonds in the night. They sparkled like diamonds in the night. And oh, Gillis Mountain, oh, sparkled like diamonds in the night. And oh, Gillis Mountain, oh, sparkled like diamonds in the night. La 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 la. Sparkled like diamonds in the night.
All right, and that was Gillis Mountain by the Rankin family. Well, that's it for today's show. I hope you liked it. I'm trying to keep it interesting, informative, and fun while showing you the beauty of all things Celtic. I would like to thank everybody for all the support and kind words. Thank you. And now, before I let you go, the trivia question answer. Which famous Irishman wrote The Importance of Being Earnest? And of course, that's Oscar Wilde. You can see a nice little statue of him lounging on a rock in St. Stephen's Green in Dublin, Ireland. It's kind of cool. I've been there. Remember to check out my YouTube channel, Olde Scot. The Learn Gaelic song videos and the Celtic podcast videos are all archived on my playlists. I got speaking our language videos and, of course, plenty more. And my Facebook group, the Olde Scot, where you can give me your insights and input and all things and make memes and just be a part of the whole process. Martian Leave and Drozda, bye for now, and we'll let you go with the song Breton Dances from the Celtic Voyage CD.